said thank you so much for coming along with me on this very precious journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. Remember, this is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shonamo, where we speak truth to power. Now, in this segment, we normally would not criticize, but if we must criticize, we would only just criticize to build and not to destroy. This is the Black Pot, aka Kuku Shonamo. And remember, we are in the service of God and country. Today, we have a lot of things to discuss coming from the news reel. If you are ready, let's go. And the first story I'm taking today is coming from my own Tree News, the most authentic when it comes to online news. And it says Chris Horton appointed Black Stars coach. And I read, former Newcastle United and Brighton manager Chris Horton has taken on the role of a head coach for the Black Stars. He previously served as technical advisor for the team during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Following the departure of the previous head coach, Otu Ado, Horton would lead the team with the support of assistant coaches George Boateng and Masaudu Didi Dramani. The Ghana Football Association has the pleasure to appoint Chris Horton as head coach of the Black Stars following extensive deliberations between the two parties, the GFA said. Now, the appointment is in line with the vision of the GFA to continue with the project of building a formidable squad that started with Otuado in the lead up to the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 tournament. Mr. Horton has been the technical advisor of the Black Stars for the past 12 months. The GFA has also decided to maintain assistant coaches George Boateng and Masawood Didi Dramani. The three coaches were part of the technical team for the World Cup in Qatar. Details about the duration of the contract and terms of engagement will be announced in due course. The expectations for Horton are high as he aims to bring the team to new heights after a disappointing performance in both the Africa Cup of Nations and the World Cup in 2022. Now let us go into this thing. He was the technical advisor of the team that put up a very disappointing performance in both the African Cup of Nations and the World Cup. That's what the last paragraph said. He was part of the technical team. In fact, he was the technical advisor. The technical advisor of the Black Stars team that performed abysmally at the World Cup and the African Cup of Nations. And he's been picked up as the head coach. So who was the problem? Was it the players? Was it the coach? Number two, now the two other people who have been maintained, Masaoud Didi Dramani and Mr. Boateng, they were part of the team that performed abysmally at the World Cup and also at the African Cup of Nations, right? Why are they maintained? Has some work been done on them to make sure that they would improve or they have improved? Now let me put this aside and deal with the issue properly. Hear me now. Now I prefer a foreign coach to a coach that holds dual citizenship. A coach who is both German and Ghanaian is a two-faced hypocrite. My brother, my sister, not many people would agree with this thing that I'm saying. But at the right time, they will swallow the pill of patriotism and understand after a serious digestion and a serious blow up of their system, when the whole system is purged, they will come to the bargaining table with a patriotic consciousness. My brother, my sister, we had a Ghanaian coach who was also German. One leg was in Germany, helping to coach a German side, and also one leg was in Ghana, coaching the whole of the Black Stars. What kind of madness is this? But we agreed to have such a coach who had dual citizenship, a coach whose patriotism was sliced into two between Germany and also Ghana. Now we all remember the Zambian side that was crashed in a plane crash. We all remember, right? We all remember that only 2 people or so were fortunate enough not to be part of that contingent that got crushed. We all saw how the team played. We saw the tears of patriotism when the team lost finally to Nigeria. We all saw it, my brother, my sister, how patriotic that side was and how that side moved on strongly to be able to achieve more laurels in the coming years. We all remember, my brother, my sister, how some African sides of late have risen to the top echelons of football, all because of patriotism. My brother, your skill is nothing if you don't have patriotism. You can have all the skills in the world. You could have the legs of Edson Arantes de Nascimento, a.k.a. Pele. You can have the football brain of Edson Arantes de Nascimento, a.k.a. Pele. If you do not have patriotism, you would be as useless as a piece of rag thrown into the corner, ready for disposal. Should I go on? Hear me now, brethren. How did Pele make it to the world level? At the time that the whole world was talking about him, and people were throwing juicy contracts in front of him, the Brazilian government decided with his consent that he needed to stay back in Brazil and uplift the football level of the country. He obliged because of patriotism. And we all know the rest is history. Today when we talk about Brazil, we talk about the best football nation in the world, true? How many countries in Africa and around the world have football teams that are called young Brazilians? Yet there is no football team in the world that is named after young Ghanaians or young Zimbabweans. Why? Because Brazil has been able to rise to the top echelons of football. Now you brought in a coach who had dual citizenship, and whilst he was talking to you, he told you point blank that he will not be able to leave his German side and come and fully coach the Black Stars. Yet you agreed that you wanted to take him. He resigned by a text message and told you that he would not be able to do it anymore, that he was gone. Today, I am excited to have a coach who has a single citizenship. Yes, he might be British. He might be American. He might even be Japanese or even Chinese. At least he has told you point blank what and who he is. Left to us, we have two-faced coaches. Half German, half Ghanaian. So when Germany starts to play Ghana, we do not know where they stand at all. They are in between flying. My brother, my sister, like stadium atoms on heat. Hear me now, brethren. Having said this, let me also ask. So we as a country have decided that we have failed when it comes to raising our coaches to be able to coach properly our national teams. What prevented them from going back to pick up the other coach who was Ghanaian and had done quite well in racing the team forward, Kwesi Appiah? Why did they leave him? Have we gone into the problems of local coaches? Is it interference? Is it the pay that is so small? Is it encouragement? What exactly is the problem? My brother, my sister, today, when we sit back and look at all these coaches that have passed through our hands, the best coaches who achieved most were Ghanaian coaches. My mind goes straight up to C.K. Jenfi. Look how many laurels he won for Ghana. All the foreign coaches you brought in, none of them has been able to win anything powerful for us except Otto Pfister. And even with him, he failed abysmally with the Black Stars. My brother, my sister, we need to open our ears and minds and start to build our team based on patriotism and not just skill. I would prefer to have the most patriotic footballer and not necessarily the most skillful yet not patriotic on the field playing for Ghana. Think about it. I remember when we were in the secondary schools, some schools would go and then recruit professional footballers to come and play for them, all because they wanted to win laurels. What would you do with that laurel, knowing very well that you cheated to get that? Will your soul be free? Would you be happy to get it? Ghana, it's about time we sat back to look into the days of C.K. Jemfi. It's about time we sat back to give a whole free hand to our coaches. Let's nurture our coaches. Let our coaches be able to stand in the field of patriotism. Not look too much at the money, but look at how the nation's name would rise. That was why the other day they had the boxer, what's his name? Joshua Clottey, came out and sheepishly, my brother, my sister, without apology, saying that he lost a boxing bout, all because he was cheated in terms of his purse. Can you believe this? It's almost like saying, I let the nation down because I was not paid well. Such a hypocrite. Such a guy. And the guy is still walking around, and he still has supporters following him. How on earth could you leave the nation, drop it like a hot coal, and then you run around several years after telling us because you were not paid well, that was why you decided to flunk the match? What a shame. I don't know what the GFA is doing. Are they banning this guy called Joshua Clottey, or is he still in? Is he already in retirement? Such people should never be encouraged to represent the country on any field. They are not patriotic. They are not in the least patriotic. Hey, listen. Patriotism is the biggest thing we need in this country. If we have patriotism in us, we will not steal from each other. We will not kill each other. We will not rob each other. That was why Kwame Nkrumah at Independence told us that now that you have independence, we need to change our attitudes. Now I'm taking something from Graphic Online, and that's the national communicator. It says OSP, that's the Office of the Special Prosecutor, charges 4 for failure to declare incomes. And I read, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, OSP, has charged 4 public servants and a civil servant for allegedly failing to comply and declare their sources of income. Their failure to declare the sources of income is in contravention of the OSP regulation, operations that 2018 LI 2374. A statement issued by the OSP on Friday named the 4 as Isa Sedu, who works with the National Insurance Commission, James Kek Osei, who works with the Office of the Vice President as an administrator, as well as John Aban and Peter Archibald Hyde, both of whom are senior officers with the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Jesus have mercy. The accused are due to appear before the Accra High Court, that's the criminal division, today. Lord God have mercy. Now look at where they work. Just look at where they work. Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Now your work is all about revenue. Your work is all about revenue. Yet you refuse to declare your own revenue and source of income. Can you imagine that? And there's one other person who is working under the vice president, in fact, in the office of the vice president. They don't declare. Listen, I'll tell you something. Now, when we are looking for a visa to travel outside the country, especially to America and England, they would like to see a bank statement. It doesn't matter how many trillions of dollars you have in your account. They want to see the source. You know why? It helps to fight corruption, what is known as money laundering. Some people still believe that the more money you have in your bank account, the easier you get an American visa or a British visa. No, sir. I have been to the American embassy and gotten visas with nothing in my account, 0. And when I went, they didn't even ask me about that. I was ready to tell them that, well, I'm not earning anything right now. Or anything that I earn, I blow it is hand to mouth. It is better to tell you that whatever I earn is hand to mouth than to bring a bloated bank account whose source I do not know. My brother, my sister, in our country, we respect rich people and we never care to find out what their source of riches is. I need to say it again. Listen to me. In our country, we believe in rich people, yet we don't even care to find out the source of their money. That is why Sikedro is all over the place. People are slaughtering their own children, slaughtering other people's children. The case of Kasua is still very, very, very fresh in our minds. How a little boy was slaughtered by his own peers. All because they wanted to send him for Sikedro. When I was their age, I was still learning to read fairy tales. I was busily trying, my brother, my sister, to educate myself and to come to grasps with my lessons in school. But nowadays, we have betting centers all over the place. We have more betting centers in Ghana than we have human beings. In fact, if our population is 30 million, we have about 90 million betting centers in Ghana, 3 times the population of Ghana. Every centimeter you walk, you would see a betting center. Next to it is a church. My brother, my sister, it looks like there's a competition between the church and the betting center. The more betting centers rise, the more churches erupt. My brother, my sister, yet the level of morality continues to go down and down and down and down. Today we ask ourselves, in the days when we had only a few churches, morality was even better with us. Today the influx of churches seems to make us even more and more and more demoralized. How on earth could you be working for the nation and you do not declare your income? These are the people who are not patriotic. They have other ways of stealing from the public. We have a government that is not accountable. Politicians hate to be accountable. Remember the other day when that thing came out about MPs and even ministers who are not ready to declare their assets before even getting in office. That is why people who sold Pampers and sold baby oil from door to door got into politics, and in no time they built mansions, owned a lot of cars, and had mansions on the waterfront and so on and so forth. It took their wives to tell us that they were this corrupt. Yet the president would hold their hand and declare them the next MP for areas. Lord God have mercy. What a shame. Ghana, until we uphold patriotism, until we teach morality in the church. Today the churches are all talking about prosperity. And the more you talk about prosperity, making money that you did not work for, then all your congregation will be heading towards the betting houses so they can bet and make money without working for that money. Now the next thing I want to look at, and I need you to come along, is quite interesting. And I do need you to open your ears and listen with rapt attention. Hear me now. I'm reading this from Peace FM Online, and it says, government committed to resolving successfully the difficulties consulting nation. And this is Nana Akufo-Addo speaking. I do not know who listens to Nana Akufo-Addo anymore. Honestly, I don't. I do not know who still believes in Nana Akufo-Addo. In fact, the people who still believe in Nana Akufo-Addo are those who are benefiting from his incompetence. They are those who are benefiting from his nonchalance. They are those who are benefiting from his dyslexia. They are those who are enjoying and benefiting from his dementia. My brother, my sister, I read, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has assured the Ghanaian people of government's commitment to resolving successfully the difficulties confronting the nation. Speaking at the 18th Consultative Council meeting of the Anglican Church on the Sunday, the 12th day of February 2023, President Adodankwa Akufo-Addo indicated that he was aware of the difficulties Ghana is facing, just as they are for most people in the world. Leave it here. Did you hear the words of the president? He is aware of the difficult times Ghanaians are in, just as the rest of the world. So you see an irresponsible president talking irresponsibly? He's always making excuses for his nonchalance and inefficacies. How many people can read between the lines? Listen to what the president said. Oh, minim se mo bre. Na so enya mo nkwa na mo bre na ewiase nyina bre. That is what the man is saying. Maybe I need to read that part again. Listen. Speaking at the 18th Consultative Council meeting at the Anglican Church on Sunday, 12th February 2023, President Akufo-Addo indicated that he was aware that these are difficult times for Ghana, just as they are for most people in the world. Can you imagine this? Your city is the worst performer as against the dollar in the world. You are not thinking about that. You are still comparing yourself to countries that have risen above this calamity. This is what the man is saying. Listen, this is a president who is an ostrich. You know how an ostrich behaves when it's being chased by the hunter? It runs, and after some time, it just dips its head in the sand. As long as it doesn't see the hunter anymore, it means it has lost the hunter and is free. So when the hunter is chasing the ostrich, it's very easy to catch it. This is how the president is behaving. He is not ready to take the bull by the horn. He is not ready to lead the nation to put its shoulders on the meal. All the president is doing right now is giving out excuses. Night and day. All the president is doing, my brother, my sister, is sitting back and trying to make it look like, oh, it is a general problem, so we are okay. Now, how many people can see that the president is now moving from church to church? Now he's scared to go out into the public because he'll be booed. He knows in the church he will never ever be booed. So he's busily moving from church to church where he would avoid boos. Well, you just saw the news reader in the house and he's going to be taking the news for the day. I'm going to exit right now and then we will see what happens next. All right, so my name is Blakk Rasta, and I want to say thank you so much for coming along. I do appreciate you and I love you. When we return, we'll be right there in the African history class. In the interim, the news at 12 takes center stage. Big man, talk on the microphone. Talk to me. How are you doing, my brother? Everything good with you?
I'm okay.
You are good?
I'm tired, but I'm fine.
We are fine.
Yes.
What is in the news today?
Well, coming up, we are going to be interrogating